Hello.
All right. Tonight we're gonna look at how to set up your EK with everything that you need. For that, let's quickly jump into Crowfall. Let's also turn on the music so you can actually hear me instead of everything else. There you go. All right. So here we are, main menu of Crowfall. Um, if you're here to look at what EK or how to build your EK, I guess you all know how Crowfall works. In the sense of you have a character, you have different worlds and all that stuff. I will quickly look over the different options. So when you have your character created, you have the option of 4 different world bands, as they call them. The Guild Wars Guild ones, full PvP, faction ones, currently not running, but you will be part of one of 3 factions and do your PvP things in there. You have your starting worlds, that's probably where everyone has been at least once. The main hub of leveling up. And then we come to our player worlds. That's what we're going to look at tonight. And in my case, it's Hex, X, Hex, X. This is my world. Everyone that is able to play also has a personal kingdom. You will find it here, in here. This is the main screen of it. You need to launch it first. There's a button on the bottom. Before you do so, you usually can go in here on the small settings icon and can choose a region. On test server, sadly, there's only US East, but on live there will also be a EU server as well as a US West to help with ping issues. So from here on, we'll quickly click the load kingdom. Shouldn't take too long as it's empty currently. And as soon as it's loaded, we can enter the world as we can do with every other world. While we wait for the kingdom to load, if you have any questions, feel free to post them in chat. We'll most likely just gather them and answer them at the end. So please stick around if you ever post a question. Yeah.
So this has been quite a running thing through the beta and the alpha was the long loading times of EKs. Once they are spun up, they do stay up for quite some time. And here we go.
Let's jump in. So I think with the recent patch they changed it to 30 minutes from 10 minutes. That the EK will stay open. There are also other options to have it open longer, but we'll come to that as soon as we're in. Ooh, look at my fancy thing up there. Alright. So this is the main area and your base area that you start your EK at. When you open the map, you will see a single parcel. That is 4x4 cells. Always placed in the middle. You'll have a respawn statue, you have a sacrifice fire, and you have those fancy little Genetians down here, as well as on the other side. And they will actually teach you everything that you need to know about DEK by letting you read all those bookcases in the back. You also have a couple of traders. For example, there's a head chef, you can buy some cooking ingredients. Rolo also has some crafting materials. And on the other side, it's the more important one, there's Paolo the architect. He will tell you how to place parcels, but I will also show you tonight. And we have a stonemason table. This is the most important thing that we'll need to set up everything that we want to do tonight. And Paolo also has the quest line to read the bookcases behind us. And he also sells some basic materials. So if you have too much gold and not enough materials, you can one need information. In God's Reach, for example, you always need to run to the bank over here to open it and take stuff out of your bank. But in your EK, you can actually just press the hotkey for it. By default, it's B to open it, and you can use it everywhere you want. That's pretty helpful, especially if you have a lot of parcels around. Alright. So, we want to place tonight a parcel, some houses, a couple of chests, a crafting station, and also some vendor stalls and a vendor, because you can open your UK to be public, and therefore have people come in and they can buy stuff from vendors that you can set up. So I have prepped most of this stuff. I have some houses, I have some parcels, I have a vendor stall and a vendor, but we are missing the chest and the crafting station. So let's check this out. The most important thing about doing all that crafting stuff is that you actually have the respective crafting disc equipped. So for me, it's the stonemason disc. That's the one so you can see all these recipes. If you don't have that one, the only recipe you see, I think, is the basic crafting station for stonemasonry in general. And yeah, let's do some crafting. So we have 4 different types of chests. These are linked to the right system that we will get to later. That is applied to the Eternal Kingdom. So I think let's just make one of each. Need a bunch of wood, a bit of iron, and some dust. Just make one of them. Oops. Come on. Let's make a public chest. Ooh. And let's make a vassal chest. Alright. So now we have our chests that we want to place in the buildings later, and we want some crafting stations, so let's just make a general crafting station. Need some wood, some ore, some stone, some dust. And then we have our crafting station. Alright. So while we're here, all the things that you see in my inventory are actually coming from the free testing copy that we currently still have on test. As soon as the game launches, this will be gone, and you're either required to buy them to get them from some backer packs, or to craft them yourself. The latter is the thing that probably most of people will do, but I can also already tell you that it's a really expensive endeavor. So let's quickly check the parcels that we have. Where are you? Geomancy, down here. So there are a bunch of parcels. They vary in size and amount of slots that you could build stuff on. And the first thing that you always craft is a grassland parcel. It'll take you 10 soil. Soil is the base ingredient that you need for crafting parcels. You can create soil out of wood, ore, and stone. And for each soil, you will need 8 of each, which translates to 160 base. So about a stack is a soil, which means for a single grassland parcel, you need about 7 or 8 stacks. So from here, you have the different parcels. You will always start off the grassland parcel. That's the one that will be built, for example, into the woodland hills. In the homestead. That thing will require 3 grassland parcels, some gold, and then you just keep upgrading them. While at it, I can do some more upgrades for free. They are down here in my Becca rewards. So when you have those parcels from the testing copy in your inventory, the Becca rewards for the parcels will show up. It's technically the same as the geomancy portion here, but the one difference is, or the 1.5 differences are, that you don't need any additional things to upgrade your parcels other than the parcels itself. Let's quickly check. I have a town, I have 2 shires, a woodland grove and a woodland hills. I know for a fact that with the woodland hills and grove I can make an estate parcel. So let's just quickly do this. I'll take these 2. As you can see on these, they don't have any options to build stuff on it compared to this one, as you can see on the bottom where it says building and defense tokens. These don't have that, so I want to upgrade them to actually get a parcel that has some. And here it is, our estate. And our estate will have a bunch of small tokens, a bunch of really small tokens, 1 small and 1 medium token. Alright. So let's jump back to the main screen. On top, where the compass is, you can see that it says 3xs, 1s, and 0 out of 100 in green. So the 3xs and the 1s slot are actually the available slots to you on the current parcel. So the starter EK parcel, the thing I'm on right now with the respawn statue, actually already allows to place a small item as well as 3xs items. You can check the size of the items by just hovering over the items that you might want to place. So for example, the cottage that I have here is a small building and I could place it on the starter EK parcel. The lodge D that I have is a large building and I couldn't. So for example, if I try to right click, it will tell you I don't have tokens for this on this parcel. The green number on the side, 0 out of 100. There's a new thing that they added with the latest patch regarding containers. So vendors as well as chests will count as a container, and there's a global limit of 100 containers per EK, which just limits your whole like storage options, I guess. Makla, in case you find something that I miss, please let me know right away, so we're not skipping on any information.
No, you're doing fantastic so far, dude. Covering it really well.
I have a cheat sheet right here, so let me quickly check where I am and where I need to go to. So I did some crafting, I showed you the other recipes. So let's come to the fun part and actually place some parcels. For this, you need to open your inventory, and then on the site, there's that site menu, and in your EK, this little icon here will pop up, which will say Edit Kingdom. So as soon as you click that, you will get to a different map screen that actually has a bunch of information as well as all the parcels that are in your inventory listed on this side. So a couple of things that you can do. So for example, I can rename this one as, I don't know, workshop. I can give it a description. This is my personal workshop, please stay out. You can also enable these for PvP as well as make it a public kingdom. So if I would remove this one, it will jump from private kingdom to to public kingdom. Yes, a pirate kingdom, that would be cool. To public kingdom, which means that everyone can jump into the EK as long as it's open. With one of the latest patches, they introduced a new function for everyone that has VIP. So if you actually have VIP, for like I do, for example, and you set it to public, like if you want to do some trading on the UK, you most likely want to set it to public because then you set up some vendors. It'll stay up for up to 3 hours. But if you keep it on private, it will start shutting down after, I think it was 30 minutes.
Yeah, that's correct.
On top of that, you can also hold it as public PvP. They're not linked or anything. You can do any combination that you want. But make sure as soon as you enable PvP, you can't use your can't use the vendors anymore. At that point, you can't abuse like any sort, sadly. Okay. So for example, if you want to have a arena type thing that is just for your guild, you will hold it as private and then enable PvP, and then you can set up your own little arena. But for this showcase, let's just leave it on private. I want to disable PvP, and then let's just place some parcels. So parcel placement is actually pretty simple. We just drag and drop them. There you go. You can also take the respawn statue parcel, for example, and move it to the side. As a side note, when people come into UEK the very first time, they will always come into the respawn statue parcel. So if you move it in the corner over here, they will come in that corner. But most of the time we just leave it in the center, so it's easier to build around. But that's up for preference. Just a side thing that you might want to change. I also like to call this the respawn instead of starter parcel. On the bottom right here, as soon as you select a parcel, you can change its title. The default title is the parcel name. So for example, if I take the estate parcel that I just dragged in, it will state estate parcel. So the estate parcel is pretty small. It only has a small and a medium slot, so let's put in the town parcel that I got, which actually has some large and extra large slots, which will be quite helpful if I want to place some bigger buildings on it. And then let's just grab this Shire parcel, because I have them and why not. Add them to the town. Make it all neat. Let's just call this El Village, because why not. And as soon as you're done editing, you can hit the confirm button. You will jump out of the screen, and the EK will do a quick reload and add the parcels that you just added. So depending on how many parcels you added or you have on it, and depending on how many buildings and slots you've used on those parcels, might actually take a bit longer, but usually it's like between 5 and 10 seconds. So if you want to go back now and just like move some of the stuff, you can just go back in here, do a quick move, hit confirm. It'll do a really quick reload, and the parcels have moved. Alright. So this is the starter parcel. Let's just not mess with that one because I personally like it really clean. So let's move over to our estate. The estate sadly looks a little bit boring. It's just a big flat ground. And even then just allows for us to place a small and a medium item. But let's just go with it, because it's really close to our starting thing and we might want to set up a vendor here. So to place a building, as you just saw, I just right clicked it and that opens this screen right here. You have a bunch of options on the right side where it tells you how to rotate it, how to raise and lower it. For example, if I want to raise it and put up the stairs for a bit, I can do that. With WASD, you just move it around. You can scroll in and out. With Q and E, you can just finally hold it down and just keeps turning. It's pretty cool now. And you can toggle the grid, which does nothing, weirdly enough. Another bug to report. Alright, so let's put this down here. I hit escape after I did that. Here we go. There's my first house. If you want to move it as the owner of the item, you have the option to move it or pick it up. If you are actually the owner of the EK and someone else placed it, you can still move it. That's a permission, right? I guess a right of the owner of the EK that they can always move items around. Things that can't do is move the the item out of a parcel. So as you just saw, if I hit the move right here, there are the blue borders around me. This is the border of the parcel that I'm on. So for example, if I wanted to move it over to the start AK slot, I wanted to place it here, I couldn't. I would need to pick it up and then place it over on that area. So I just wanted where it was, so I just hit escape and stop that process. So these houses, or in this case our cottage, they have different plugs, I think I want to call them, where you can actually add stuff to it. For example, this cottage, if you go inside and then, for example, hit a chest, just take, where is it, the personal chest, there it is. Hit the personal chest, you will see that it all turns slightly blue, and you have your small chest in front of you, and you can just turn it a bit, and there's that plug. So this plug is only available to chests. Sadly, those plugs always look the same, but they will only show up if you actually place an item that has that property. So for example, if I stop this now and try to place our crafting station that we made earlier, oops. Let's zoom in a bit. It's still a bit messy. You will see that a different plug over here to the side will show up. Sadly, in the cottages, they're still a bit messy to place. Let's try this again. That should put it in there right away. There you go. Would like to raise it. There you go. Let's turn it around and then drop it. Just confirming with the leftmost button. And there it is. You now have a crafting station in your cottage. So let's also put down the personal chest on the side. So we actually have some storage. And there you go. We now can do some general crafting on this one. And we can also go ahead and just open this one and put some stuff in chests. So a really neat thing that they added, if you would pick up the chest now, it will put everything that is inside the chest into your vault, though it might take a restart of the client for you, so it registers that. But since there is an overflow mechanic in the vault, where you can only have X amount of items, in my case 400, in the vault, you may not want to do this and just grab the things that are in there and just bring it back into your inventory. At this point, let's just go ahead and also place the vendor stall. I have made a leather armor themed vendor stall prior to this, and as you can see, there's another plug next to the cottage, and I should be able to just put it in here. There you go. And now we have a vendor stall in front. And who would have thought we need that vendor stall for our vendor. Whoops, there it is. So the vendors have some additional options. They have variations. So if you hold control and scroll through. Whoops, where is it? There it is. You can choose between male and female. And the alt cycle ring should actually do something, but I couldn't tell you, to be honest, what it actually does right now. That one is new. I have not seen this before, and from the latest testing, I couldn't tell if it actually does something. So let's see if Ace actually brings out another information about this. So let's just put down our vendor. There it is. And now we have set up our own cottage with the vendor stall, some personal storage, a crafting station, and our vendor. As the owner of the vendor, you can just go in and talk to it and say purchase goods. and it will open the owner screen of it. On here, you see that it requires an upkeep fee on the bottom left. It's usually 5 gold for, is it 10 or is it 15 minutes, Makla? Do you know? I think it's 10.
I think it's 10 as well.
So what you can do is you just put like a bunch of gold and give it into the coffer. And then you can start placing items in here. In here, you can just also drag and drop some items. You can put up some price. For putting that up, you need to pay a listing fee, which seems to be really expensive. Okay, it seems to be static. That was weird. So you can just place on a bunch of things, and they will be for sale. You can also move them around in here if you want to reorder them. If you actually sell stuff, it will show up on the bottom where it says sales. It will list what was bought for how much money. You can collect the money at that point, and it will tell you who actually bought it.
So the listing fee is based off the vendor trash cost of the item itself. So 200 of a basic resource is 400 gold.
Yep. So since each ore is worth 2 gold, the sell value on the bottom left, the whole thing will be 400. So
yeah,
this one should be 125, and it is 125. Sweet. Thank you. Alright. So we now have our first house. Let's look into... where is it? Let's look into some rights, because currently we have set our EK to be private, and at this point nobody else can come in. So there are a bunch of ways to bring people in. Well, there's one way of bringing people in, which means you need to invite them to the EK. But as soon as you have invited them, you have a bunch of options to give them different rights for different things. And this is where our different chest types come into place. So Markla, if you don't mind, would you launch your test client and jump in, and I will start inviting you in a moment.
Yep.
So while we're here, let's quickly put down a lodge so we can show off some things since we placed the chests. While you watch this turning, on the top, on this town parcel that we are on right now, you will see it has a lot more slots, and also has those blue slots. Those blue slots are actually for defensive items. Defensive items are stuff like walls, up banners, gates and stuff like that. So this is actually the proper way of building an arena, for example. So let me quickly check through this, because I think I have some. Down here, wooden walls. So if I check my wooden wall, it says it's a token type, small defense. I could place 80 of them on this parcel, and I can quickly show you that I can place a couple of them over here. It will not look like anything fancy, but just put some down. Let's turn this around because it looks weird. Turn, turn, turn. There you go. And as you just saw, if you add another one, you will have two different blocks. You have those square ones and you have the circular ones. The circular ones are for banners that you can attach. And you can actually attach a bunch of different banners to your walls. And the square blocks are to connect your walls with each other. Like this. So over here we have a bunch of walls. Alright, so let's put down some chests. The lodge compared to the cottage has 4 chest slots, as well as 4 crafting slots. The crafting slots are on the inside. They're here, here and on the other side. And the chest slots are outside of the cottage on the same positions. So if I just start popping down the noble chest, for example, and then the public chest next to it, oops, like this, we have 2 more chests, and we can do with this with the other one on the other side. Alright, but first, let's go into actually bringing in some people. So what I want to do now is to invite Markla to my EK. And for this, I could just type in the command, but there's actually that little question mark. So if you open your inventory and have your chat open, you can click the question mark and it will tell you a bunch of chat commands that are actually here in the game and used for a lot of things. So what we want to do is we want to look at the citizen commands, and in this particular case we want to do the EK invite followed by the name. So we want to do EK invite and then invite Markla to the EK. I swapped to the me tab because in the me tab you can actually see the PCSR command was EK invite Markla, and then it says command executed successfully. Really important about the invite thing in general, commands that will give rights to people in UK, it's important to capitalize them correctly. So for example, if I would have lowercase Markla in this case, it would probably have told me no player found. Sorry I did interrupt you here. What did you want to say?
Absolutely, just that it is case sensitive, and from my perspective, I had the workshop appear on my list from the menu, and I'm loading in.
Sweet. So over here, let's quickly check what we have. We have the EK invite. We can ban people from the EK. If we actually have it public, for example, it's good to just remove a bunch of pricks that try to mess up with your public EK. You could ban them. If you change your mind, you can unban them. The EK remove is specifically for private EKs. It's the counterpart to EK invite. So if I would start doing the /EK remove Markla now, even while he's loading in, he would just instantly be dropped from the EK. So let's see. He should be appearing over there. Just a moment.
I'm logged in.
Let's invite him really quick. So in contrary to the EK commands, the group invite commands don't care about capitalization. That is a really weird system, and I don't know why they made it that way. But here we are. You might need to go left or right around that hill thingy. Alright. So now that we have Markla in here, we can actually check a bunch of things with the chests that we made. So the first chest that we made in our cottage over to the southeast was a personal chest. Personal chest means it is for you only and nobody else, whatever rank they are, and even if you are just a small person on that EK and you got like slots to build a house on it, it will always be yours. Nobody could grab that stuff out of it. And it's protected from everyone else. Things that we placed here, for example, this one is a public chest. It's the complete opposite of the personal chest. This one is for everyone that is actually able to go into your EK, can use this chest and put stuff in or take stuff out. So as you can see, Markla is currently using it and actually dropping stuff in there. So for example, if I drop my stonemason disc that we got while crafting, he could grab it and take it out. And he now has it in his inventory. Compared to that one, this one over here, he should not have access to it because it's a noble chest. A noble, a noble is a rank, I guess you can call it, in your EK. You have a couple of different ones. There's the monarch, which is the owner of the EK. So that's usually you when you launched it, or the person that actually owns the EK is the monarch. The next highest rank is a noble. a noble is someone that is allowed, if you actually give them the rights to do so, to place parcels and put stuff on those parcels that they placed. For example, if I now make Makler a noble, he should now be able to use this chest.
Yep, I even get a pop-up saying that I've just been granted noble rights. I can now drop stuff in there.
Another thing that you can do with nobles is you can increment the cell count. So the cell count references, if we jump back to our overview where sorry, where you can see your EK layout. All these things in here, for example, if we go to the top left, A21, this thing is a cell. And EK has, I think it's 100. I need to lie. It's about 100 cells. And you can give a player as many of them as you want, up to the amount that is still free. But if you give them to a player, they own them, and you can't use them if you wanted to place stuff yourself, so you would need to remove them from their cell count. A second thing in here that is the next highest to noble, next highest, is one step lower than a noble, is the vassal. A vassal is someone that has access to stuff on a parcel that you have placed. So for example, we are currently on my town parcel. So if I'm standing on my town parcel, I can start giving vassal rights to other people. And whenever I use a vassal command, I need to be standing on the parcel that I want to use it on. So let's just make you a vassal with the EK add vassal command. And you should get another pop-up that said you're now a vassal of this.
I do indeed. I'm now a vassal of the El Village.
You also have the remove vassal, as always, and you can list all your vassals to the current parcel that you're standing on, which is helpful if you have like a really big one and you give out a lot of slots to other ones. So what you can do as a vassal, or what you can do with vassals as part of your parcel, is you can give them the right to place stuff on it. So you're actually giving them slots or tokens that you can see on the top. So for example, you could give them now like 100 XS slots, or you can give them 5 out of 5 S slots. But it's the same as with the cell amount. As soon as you give them away, you need to remove them from them again to use them yourself. Magla, do you have anything that you could place? Anything?
I do not actually.
I guess I could give you a chest. No, that doesn't count towards it. Never mind. Let's just try it and give you some tokens, because it should update our view on the top. So let's just do an EK increment vassal token count. We need the player. We need the type. So for the yellow ones, it's building. For the blue ones, it's defense. So let's do building. Then we want to give you like XS slots. Let's just give you all 400 because I'm generous. So as you can see in the token commands, we did EK increment vassal count. We did add the player, we did add the type, we did the size, and we did the count. So if I didn't do any typos, I should now be able to hit enter. And as you saw on top, the 400 XS slots that I had left got removed from my option and should have been added to Markdown.
I got a pop-up for that too.
You should also see them now on the top.
I am not currently, but that could just mean I need a relog.
That could be it. That could be it. If you want to remove them again from people, you can do the same thing again and put in a negative amount. So let's say we want to remove 200 of the 400 from him. I just do an increment vassal token count from Makla. I want to remove buildings, excess, 200 of them. And EK increment vassal token. I forgot the count. Increment vassal token count. Makla building excess minus 200. User could not be found. Oh my god. Like once I need to actually type your name correct. Marklar building access. Minus 200.
Well, whilst
There
you're
you go.
getting that right, it doesn't require a relog to get it to update, but you just need to pop yourself into the EK menu from the left-hand side.
Oh, okay. That's
So
cool.
that's quite nice.
Yeah.
And then it
So,
auto refreshes properly.
yeah, it's probably because you had none at that point. Because for me, it just removed it and added it again. But I guess it's because I have that list on top already.
I think so indeed.
So as you just saw, the excess tokens I've just gotten is 200, and I've just gotten them back. So let's just do a last test with the vassal chest that we have in here. So vassals and nobles do have similar rights, but they're not interchangeable in the sense of every noble has access to a vassal chest. But you would need to add, for example, a noble that is in your EK as a vassal to your parcel that you want them to have access on. So for example, Makler should now be able to use this as it is a vassal chest.
Yep.
And here we go. Alright, so let's quickly check. We did all the token stuff with the vassal commands, with the noble commands. I think that's everything we need to say about the whole right system.
Yeah, nice and comprehensive. I think you got everything. Of course, that menu is available once again through that question mark, and it's incredibly useful for this kinds of stuff.
Alright, so are there any questions, especially regarding all the stuff that we just talked about? But feel free to send other questions too. I just saw that there have been some questions, but I guess Kana has been so nice and answered them.
Yep, Kanna's on the ball. Just mainly about.
Thank you, Kana.
Yeah, thank you, Kanna. Just mainly about necromancy and levels. But there doesn't seem to be anything more about the EK. So thank you for going through all that, Cricky. It was absolutely amazing.
You guys are welcome.